Again, we're going to call the meeting in order. Start with the pledge to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Our normal order of business is to open up for first public comment period. I know we have a large group here, and I'm pleased to see that. I know we had a large group at the last meeting. So again, if somebody has something they want to address the board with, now's the time. We did listen to many of your concerns and issues last month. I know Melanie wasn't here. She has since reviewed the minutes and the video recording, so she has an opportunity to have heard the same thing that we all heard. So I guess what I'm saying is we'll answer what questions we can. Some of the things that came up last month we'll address, and if there's anything new since last month that somebody would like to address the board with, now's the time. So is there anybody, something different from like Steve?
Where is the video? Where's the camera?
Camera's right there.
Thank you.
Yes. Sorry about that.
Oh, that's okay. It was a candid camera. I didn't realize that was on.
Yeah. We started videotaping the minutes a number of months ago, as many of the other communities and municipalities have. So you'll be able to go home, you know, within 3 or 4 days. We post those online, so you can.
Wow.
Sometimes I don't like to hear myself talk, so it's kind of embarrassing. Anybody would like to address the board? Tom.
I'm just curious about the music, June 21st, Music in the Streets Day.
Okay.
That's what that is.
Well, we were asked to, I went to a meeting with a group of people that want to just kind of put it out there. It's one of these things they're doing around the world type of things. The gentleman that kind of heads it up is from New York City. He's working with PS21. PS21 is going to be doing something the early morning of the 21st. We have documentation out front here. They have a website up and running now, and it's basically, say you, the brewery, want to put a lead chord out front and have somebody play. They can play a harmonica.
Yeah, we signed up.
And it's a wonderful thing, and it's not costing anybody anything. And the hours, you just pick an hour. It could be in front of the bookstore. It could be at the gazebo. It could be somebody, you know, a band. They're trying to organize something in the gazebo area a little more organized, but that's not something we are doing other than I gave a proclamation to basically say, yeah, game on. So if that doesn't answer your questions, there is a website on the desk out front here. There's a whole bunch of information. My understanding is they've reached out to CABA, who were going to send out a blanket email with some more details. And the gentleman that runs Stony Kill Coffee House, Anthony's really involved in it. So,
okay, great. No, it sounds good. Like I said, I signed up, but I just wasn't sure
anytime
who was spearheading.
Foot traffic into the community, and you know, hey, parking's going to be a problem. We'll deal with it. You know.
Great.
Yeah, well, that's what we all need to be doing. Anybody else? Hearing none, we're going to switch things up here a little bit before we get into our department reports. Ted Donner, the head engineer for our water project, for those folks that may not be aware.
Wait, I think a couple of us were waiting to see if someone more principled would start, but I'd like to make a comment about the drone. You know, I have respect and confidence in the people in this room, and I appreciate that. But the issue with the drone for me is an issue of privacy. And I have a concern that given how there are tenures for all offices, there will be different people at different times, that I would not want to have a drone in our community. I feel the state police has adequate equipment, and that's my sense of it. You know, I respect the decency and intentions of people here, but concerned for the future.
Okay. Anybody else?
I'd just like to restate my concern about being filmed at the gazebo and that information being subpoenaed and turned over to an agency that I don't trust, like I trust this agency. So that's a grave, grave concern of mine. I spend a lot of time on the corner, and I spend a lot of time in Hudson and New York City, and unless I come in disguise, I would be very concerned with being filmed. And I know that your intent would be to film in case there was a perpetrator trying to injure the peaceful demonstration, which does happen. Cars come crashing into people and whatnot. And I appreciate that, but I'm really willing to take the risk so as not to be documented as being there.
Good point. I know Melanie had some concerns and she reached out to the chief with someone very similar. There is an unmanned aerial systems policy that we have, which is just part of our overall police policy. We have a firm called Lexipol that manages our policies and procedures. It's very cumbersome to do that. They review our policy every 3 or 4 months. Any changes in laws and stuff, we make the adjustments. We didn't put this drone policy into effect just because we were going to get a drone. It was just part of putting that whole policy together in the event we ever did. A couple of things I just want to emphasize is we have to adhere to the Fourth Amendment, where a hobbyist, for just sake, is not held to the Fourth Amendment search and seizure. There's very, very details in our policy regarding when you video, when you don't video, how long you can keep the video, and how it gets distributed, if it ever gets distributed. So there's a lot of checks and balances in there. Your point is very well taken. From an emergency management standpoint, not a police standpoint, but I've cut my teeth in emergency management. And I'll use the fair as an example because I'm part of the safety security of the fair, not anything to do with the village. And I also have to be the parking chairman. So on Saturday, we bring 20,000 people into the grounds. We're not worried about XYZ walking to Midway. What we're worried about is how far is the traffic backed up to the Dairy Queen, to the traffic light. Now we have a bleacher failure, and we have to get ambulances in. We don't know where the traffic is. Those type of things would be very helpful to have an asset available to us. Same thing with a protest, small protest. Protests here are fine. They're fabulous. I fully and completely support them. But the event that we say we have 350, 400 people and we need to get an ambulance through, it's nice that, doesn't mean we're recording. It just means situational awareness where the administrator and or the pilot can just watch the area. We're not recording, bringing it back and say, hey, what was there? Could they? Yes, they could. But it's some of the things we've looked at. You brought that concern up before, and it's a very legitimate concern. There are agencies out there that will take things and they'll share information.
That's right.
Unless it's subpoenaed, which anything can be subpoenaed. We have LPR cameras in the village, and they can be subpoenaed, and they're recording 24/7. Not people, but license plates. One thing I think Steve brought up was insurance. Our inland marine policy covers any drones. There is a cost of $250 a pilot, if you will, we call it a pilot, I guess, would be a cost. And there's a lot involved with the training and what have you, but the FAA training for this particular program is free to us. As a matter of fact, we've had two members, or a member take some training already. I wanted to answer some of that question that you had. And Joanne, again, I understand. And some of the questions, I'm not here to, some of the questions they had, whether you trust me or trust Joe today, what's going to happen 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 years from now. Well, hopefully there's always going to be a board here. That this can always change, regardless of whether it's this policy or we did a lot during police reform to redo our policies, how we handle use of force and things like that, mental health crises and issues. And It's not just a document you put on a shelf and maybe it'll blow the dust off. It gets reviewed periodically. And sometimes you get to change things. They just don't work. But that's kind of some of my thought process. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, not at all. I just also would like to state my concern about this. I feel like for a small village, Chatham already has their own police force, which seems somewhat excessive. We have the state police now very close by, and I think it would be nice in terms of the small town, the small community nature of police, citizen communication, that it be humans rather than drones, that there be a sense of, community rather than this level of surveillance and equipment that doesn't seem appropriate for this town, and I also have privacy concerns about it.
Gavin?
I want to begin by really commending you, John, for the way in which you've handled the last meeting and in which you've been open to a discussion and responsive to concerns. And I want to commend Chief Alessi for the documentation and the thought that's gone into the policy and how the policy might address some of those concerns. I actually went back to review your discussions after we left last week and was surprised to find myself
You're right.
the center of
Sorry.
of a reality show. But I want to begin on that basis and say that not every decision always goes the way you want it to, and that doesn't mean that we can't continue to cooperate on either side of this equation. So if we don't get a drone, it doesn't mean that we can't later make the case for it either. However, last time I shared an anecdote about a former sheriff who, I'm not going to repeat all of it because I'll be boring half the people in the room, but who confided in me that he was picking out faces in a crowd at a march in Hudson that I happen to also be a part of. So we're a small police force with limited personnel and resources. And I think despite that, we do okay. We're also a pretty small village geographically. And our police don't have a large area to cover. Drones, I would argue, and I said this last time, I'm a FAA certified commercial drone pilot, and I fly drones for a living. They're quite limited in small areas. They're useful if you have to cover ground. I fear that one of the things that having a drone does is it takes police, it takes the effect, it will have the effect of taking police presence away when people gather in our village. Our police members are a part of our community. Some of them may live here, some of them may live elsewhere, but you work in and serve this community and you're a part of us. When we're celebrating Halloween on Kinderhook Street, we want you walking through with us, keeping an eye on things, enjoying the candy and the vibe, not looking down on us from above. Drones can be impersonal. The same thing when we're lining the streets with banners. You don't have to agree on our cause, but whatever you're out there protesting or doing, a thumbs up or a thumbs down, a presence in our midst says, yep, we don't always agree on everything, but we're part of this thing. A drone in the sky, for perhaps legitimate reasons, gives us a sense of insecurity and a sense that we're being watched. And that fact alone speaks to the kind of village we want to be. I moved here 9-ish years ago. I regularly congratulate myself for finding this place and making the decision to live here. I love living here. You can tell from my voice, I'm from somewhere else. The other factor is that in most situations, de-escalation from up there is incredibly difficult. I remember an incident, and I don't know the details, in Kinderhook where people were marching by and a member of, at one of the houses pulled out a firearm, and some of you will remember that. Being up there would not have done any good de-escalating that. And when we're a small village police force, it's better to be enjoying life in our midst. For large events like the county fair, there's more than enough time to get external resources and more than enough notice. We've spoken about combining drone footage with facial recognition technologies. I have experience of living and working in a surveillance, well, more than one surveillance state. And the effect on public morale and participation, not when you are being surveilled, but when you believe you're being surveilled, whether you are or not, is it can corrode the fabric of a society. You've spoken in the policy about the Fourth Amendment overreach. I would be set at ease, except that the way I am personally experiencing this society is that there is more and more Fourth Amendment overreach. And that is a concern. Invasion of privacy is significant. I have been asked on occasion, I think my neighbor's building or doing something, can I pay you to put the drone up? And I say it's not my gig. Deal with it through official channels. I'm uncomfortable with that sort of request. I want to speak about the cost of this. The quote includes an amount for $809 for an annual care program with which they call the Autel Care Standard Package, and I don't know exactly what that entails, but I think it means if you crash your drone, you send it away, you get one in the post the next day, and so your operations are not interrupted. That's not an insignificant annual amount. Our officers don't pay, we're not paying for the training. That's good. But it is costing us time. I think when the officers are doing this training, when they're writing proposals, they are using time which we are paying for. So to say it costs us nothing isn't an entirely accurate view. And then there's the care of the drone, the occasional recalibration, equipment familiarization. If for some of those uses you are needing to keep a close eye on the screen, you need a second person to keep an eye on the drone to remain legal, because it may not be out of sight. To fly legally, I'm not going to bore you with everything. There's a national trend toward more and more drones, and it's becoming prolific and it's becoming intrusive. I shared last time when occasionally someone will stomp across and say, I'm going to shoot that effing thing out of the sky, and I have to take time, calm them down, explain what I'm doing and why, and reassure them that of their privacy concerns, and reassure them that if they have a way, that if they want to challenge me that I have been intrusive, I have a way to show them, to prove that I haven't. That's a time-consuming thing sometimes. But drones can be immensely useful in some circumstances. My fear is that it takes us in a direction for the character of our village and our police and the relationship between us that I'm really uncomfortable with and not sure our village needs.
Thank you. Go ahead, Joe.
Mayor, I'd like to withdraw the request.
All right. I heard that.
Thank you. Thank you, John.
The system works, whether we all agree or not.
I never had any doubt.
I didn't have to
You
speak.
didn't have to do anything.
No.
I did
Got to
though,
sit
you
there.
guys, I did. Because I want to say, I am kind of in the middle of this whole thing. For my job, a big role of my job is emergency preparedness. I work for a nursing home association. I have to attend quarterly meetings from large groups in the Finger Lakes and Long Island. And I want to say in the emergency response, drones are very helpful. They go in, you get situational awareness of what is going on, and they're very, very helpful. They help people plan. Like even for the fire department, I think at some point in time, a drone would be very helpful, especially when we are dealing with people, a smaller amount of firefighters to fight the fires. And it's just useful. Then you don't have to send people in the middle, whatever. But I also heard loud and clear that the privacy issues, I totally understand that. I want to thank Joe. I asked him a lot of questions about this. I'm not going to read the answers, but if you guys go on that site, you could see the questions. Ralph asked questions too. And you could see kind of what privacy is important. Could we have built into the policy? Would we be notified when the drones are going up? Just so it's more transparent when we're using them and how we're using them. So that's kind of my take on the whole thing. I do want to thank Joe for all the work that he's done with this, because first and foremost, he has our village, the best interest of our village. And there's no private agenda here or anything. He always is trying to think of something that could make the job safer for the police, to make our community safer. I also want to thank all of you guys for coming out. We don't know unless you come out. You came out a few times now. I'm sorry I wasn't here, but I just appreciate it. I really, really do. And I hope that if there's other issues that come up, we would like to hear from you. Yeah, are we all going to always agree? No. But this is part of politics, right, John?
It is, it is.
Oh, it's part of life, I think.
You know, it doesn't always have to be comfortable. And we have to be held to the highest standard. Shame on me, I try to be as transparent as I possibly can. 3 months ago, we started this process with a resolution to purchase a drone, and I felt at the time I wanted to table it till we had a justification. Out of the justification, folks came, but where's the policy? So let's get the policy out there. And clearly, Gavin, some of you read it. And that's good, because Desiree and Sam are putting this stuff out, and I wonder if anybody ever reads it. You know? So it's like, it's not for the lack of trying. And again, we try to move everything in the right direction.
The important thing, John, and you've played the central role in this, is you're helping us to listen to each other, to build understanding. And I want to congratulate you that this has been a dialogue and not a debate.
Yeah.
Because it's a different thing, and you are good at it.
Gavin, I look at what goes on around us in some of the neighboring towns, and it's terrible.
It is terrible.
It is terrible, because the citizens, everyone's at each other's throats, and there's no place for that here. There's no place for that.
Well, I said it last time, and I want to say again, I really appreciate this board, and John and Joe, and I don't know their names, but you listen, and we don't feel uncomfortable in coming to you, and it's not adversarial, we all live in the village, we're all neighbors, and it's good that we can speak. I mean, I speak to Melanie in the supermarket about things, I mean, you know, it's a wonderful community to be involved in, and I wouldn't want to see us fight.
No. So, I think that kind of puts that to rest. You folks are welcome to stay. Ted's going to give about a 40-minute presentation on the well.
That was great, I gotta go.
Very interested in the water.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all, thank you.
Thank you, Joe. I'll watch it online.
Thank you.
I want you to
Actually, what we'll do is we'll go through the building reports, our building. We'll guess, Darren, you get first dibs.
It was like 40 more minutes.
We'll go through the department reports, and then the first two resolutions have to do with the Labella water system improvements. And we'll lean on that a little bit. So, Aaron, if you want to go with your report, please.
Yes, please. So there were 0 commercial building permits issued, 9 residential, no new complaints. The appeal before the zoning board has been completed. 2 residential title searches, yes, they were on the same property. No commercial title searches. 3 fire inspection and grease trap inspection notices were sent. 20, and actually there were more grease trap inspections, but those were the ones that were just combined. 20 residential and 0 commercial certificate of occupancy completions issued. Inspections, there were 13 residential, 3 commercial, and 2 complaint inspections, and payments were $2,438.99.
Anything for Aaron? Thank you.
Have you gotten a building permit yet from Crossroads? The restaurant?
It's coming before the planning board this month. They just submitted, so yes.
So we'll see that restaurant next year.
We'll see how long it takes. The planning board and all.
So, police report, Joe.
Recruiting, staffing, so I know I have one resolution later on, but Officer O'Brien graduated and started her field training. Her first day in the village was today, and so you'll start to see a second person in the car. She's got to do 160 hours for the academy and then an additional 180 hours for us. So it should be doubled up for around 300 hours plus for her training. I know we have the town contract on the agenda later, and we have training coming up. So this Saturday I've got training, search and rescue training, sheriff's office, Chatham PD, I believe a couple of Chatham fire members. The forest rangers are going to be putting on a search and rescue. So we'll do several hours in the classroom at the firehouse, and then we'll go out into a wooded area and do some training for for searches. On Sunday, we have the gravel grinder, roughly 1,000 bikes plus. We'll be in and around the village starting at 9 a.m. One thing I do want to bring to the board's attention, we do have a level 2 sex offender that is one of the homeless folks that is in the village. We are aware of it. School's aware of it. Morris is aware of it. He was arrested once and is now in compliance. So short of anything else, he is allowed to remain as long as he's remaining in a spot that is legal for him to remain. This has stirred up some trouble at the school, as well as we had a incident at school dismissal where a young girl we believe was approached and triggered an incident where, she wasn't taken or anything, but we were looking for a vehicle. Turned out not to be anything related, but it put everyone on heightened alert, which triggered everything to happen a little bit faster than probably was necessary, but I just wanted the board to be aware of that. And then I'll talk briefly about it. It did get missed on the agenda, but in your packet you would have seen something called Patrol Finder. Patrol Finder is a tool really for the department to improve operational efficiency, officer accountability, and documentation. So what it does is allows with mapping and GPS allows us to better ensure that we are covering those small sections of the village that may not see a patrol car as often as others. I use Library Place, for instance. It's tucked away. People may, the patrol car may not go down there as often as it should. This is designed to allow both officers and supervisors to ensure that we're covering the village as a whole and not, missing spots that haven't been covered. So the software basically allows the officer to see the last time a patrol went down that road, which also means that I'll be able to report to the board on our coverage and how often we're hitting that coverage based on some setup. I don't have the quote in front of me, but there is obviously a dollar amount with it. I do have that funding to cover in my remaining budget, so there's no additional funds needed for this year. If it decides to be useful, obviously we can continue the contract. If there's no value in it, then we can decide to move on. But we can talk about that more when we get to resolutions, if you'd like.
So can I just ask a question about the homeless people?
Yep.
Can anything be done about that? I mean, I've had so many parents reach out to me this week about it.
So it's not illegal to be homeless. If they are trespassing, they are told that they're trespassing and they'll be issued their appropriate ticket for the location that they are trespassed in. But, that is,
Pretty much all you can do.
yeah. They have been trespassed from a couple different businesses within the village, but short of that, there's not a whole lot. Even the gazebo is a sticky situation for us, because though there's a requirement that no one's there after dark, there's some unknown on how we enforce that and whether it would stand up if we tried to enforce that. So there's, but officers are aware, officers are told to do welfare checks on a daily basis so that they're aware that we're aware that they're around. Yes.
Thanks,
I just
Joe.
want to take it a step further. Early on, 2 weeks ago or so, Joe had met with them there at the gazebo. I came over, we had a conversation. They were offered DSS, they refused. I offered the minister who runs a warming shelter in Hudson, they refused. They've been in the system, they're very familiar with the system. There's probably a reason why they refused, because just they've been through the system. To follow up on that, our Chatham Cares for You, I think it's Chatham Cares for You, reached out to
Community Cares.
Community Cares, and they refused that initially, and a few days later there were some dynamics that changed things. They accepted some help. They took them, Community Cares, to a hotel in Skodak, the only place that was available, put them up for a number of nights, went to the food pantry, got them all the food they could have, and they came back. They've been offered, I've been skewered on social media, and I don't care, as being heartless, harassing. Craig Simmons, the supervisor from Ghent, called me today. He's receiving phone calls from parents. I talked to Donnell Collins regarding Cromwell Park, because now the park's going to start. They're all aware of it, so people seem to be taking very good care of them. So, and it's a bit of a distraction. So.
And I singled out the one homeless sex offender, but the village does have a total of 4 inside the village. 2 level 2s and 2 level 1s. Just, he is not the only sex offender that does live within the village bounds. And I did put a Facebook post out with how you can search for that information so that people can see that information.
John, did you ever hear back from that group that wanted to meet?
No, Joe reached out to them and they said, send me a phone number, we'll chat, nothing. So I'm not even gonna discuss that.
Okay.
So Joe,
Oh, no,
when you have been a convicted sex offender, don't you have to provide a resident or a location?
They could be homeless. It's not illegal for them to be homeless. We called the registry to confirm because they were down in Hudson before they came here, and it was the same thing down in Hudson. They were registered as homeless.
They just have to register with the municipality in which
Yeah.
they're homeless in.
Yeah, so when they moved up to Chatham, they had to register with us. If they move somewhere else, they have to register with the agency that is responsible for that town or.
Gotcha, so they
Yeah.
came in here and registered?
well, they did register.
Yes, they did
So that's,
register.
if you look at the registry, it'll come up, address homeless, Chatham, New York.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, thank you very much.
Anything else for Joe? Hearing none. Eric, fire department.
Everybody said my report fairly short this month. I don't have a copy with me, but I'll be quick. The highlights are, no, it's fine. Basically, the only thing I gotta cover is, our budget is gone. We are out of money for the month. We've been hit hard with apparatus, deficiencies and breakdowns. The 2012 ladder truck was hit hard this year with repairs, partly because our apparatus, all of it in the last 12 months received very thorough inspections and certifications that hadn't been historically being done as much as they should have been legally, but they're all up to snuff now. The ladder truck had a pump test last week. It passed its test finally, and it required an expensive, a primer part. It's a primer. It was a pump, but it was an expensive part that it's needed, or else the truck's useless. That was Phil did a great job within 24 hours. Was able to get that repaired and back in service. It does still have a litany, a 4-page list of deficiencies. Some are more serious than others. One being a fractured weld on a bracket on the ladder. So that should be getting repaired this week. We're hoping potentially tomorrow. So that's what happens with these trucks. They get to be more than 10 to 12 years old. These things start happening. That's why our preventive maintenance program, the inspections and certifications on these $1 million pieces of apparatus, because that's what they are, is very important to budget and do these inspections every year religiously, because then we find the problems when they're small, although it adds up, and this year we spent close to 50 grand on repairs. It's still cheaper than replacing a $1 million truck. But anyways, that's kind of where we stand with that. Everything else seems to be going fine.
Questions for Eric?
Yeah, you said your budget is bust.
It is. It's
So
nil,
how are
zero.
we supposed to address this?
We're gonna,
For this month?
Oh, it's in there.
June 1st, the new budget takes over.
Okay.
But in part of your agenda here is
Yes,
a
sir.
whole schedule of transfers
Okay.
for all the departments. Wherever their lines are short, they either have to make it up from another line, which Trish has worked very hard to
Yep.
get it. I'm not gonna read it all because it's pages, but you all have it. Desiree had a bunch. I think Joe had like one. Fire department, Phil had a number of them. That's all part of the schedule we're gonna vote on. So these things all get paid. It's just they weren't budgeted for, so they'll come out of the unallocated fund balance. And you don't wanna keep doing that forever because the well's only so deep. Anything else with the fire department? DPW, Bill's not here. I know they're doing the waste drop-off this week through Thursday. They had, I think, what they said, 30 names, 60?
We're under 60.
It's
probably
like
45.
It's like half of what last year signed up for. So apparently people have either cleaned their garages out or they're not aware of it. They're still doing some spring cleanup. He's really dialed in with Memorial Day coming, sprucing the village up. We'll be putting the flags up. He just ordered them. They worked out in the center, the fountain area out here. They've done working with Desiree, Trish to get a vision, which switched things up out there. They power washed the front of the building today. So it's basically heavy duty spring cleanup is what they're involved in.
John, he does have a report if you want.
Oh, you do? Go ahead, Des.
You want me to do
Go ahead, Steve.
Okay. Highway bag leaves and brush pickup will continue through the month of May. Lawns are growing rapidly, crews are mowing continuously to keep up. Main Street and the traffic circle are currently undergoing spring mulching and general cleanup. Street sweeping is scheduled to begin this week. American flags will be installed within the next 1 to 2 weeks. Bulk trash drop-off begins this week. Crews are scheduled for annual safety training on June 19th at the Columbus County Fairgrounds. It's a full-day training covering 6 recommended safety topics. The sewer plant recently underwent its annual DEC inspection. A formal report is pending, but initial feedback was positive. Excuse me. Grease trap inspections will begin this week. Water 3 service line breaks were repaired in-house, all 3/4 inch copper lines. 1 repair required running a new line underneath State Road. The new line was successful, installed in place of the old one. All these repairs were done in-house. He's got a lot of stuff on the water well distribution project. I don't think John would like me to read all of that aloud. Meter program system has approximately 850 accounts. The goal is to have 99% of the system upgraded to cellular meter technology by the end of 2028. The DPW has met and exceeded this year's goal of upgrading 275 water meters. Plan to upgrade an additional 275 meters in the next fiscal year. He has equipment and assets. I think that those are going to be addressed in the meeting later on. But he says, proposed purchase of a new skid steer while the current unit still retains value. New skid steer along with attachments, sweeper, power rake, and snow blower will be fully reimbursable through the CHIPS program. Upon delivery of the new machine anticipated after June, requesting approval to auction the existing skid steer. And 2 former police vehicles and the old firehouse generator are currently listed on the municipal auction site, Auctions International. He has a request UTV purchase lease. He's requesting the board authorize the purchase. With the purchase of the lease of a utility task vehicle, the board action requests the skid steer purchase. You guys will cover both of those later. That's it.
I heard the report. We'll move on to, we need a motion to approve the minutes of April 13th regular meeting. Can we hear a motion? In a second. All in favor? I need a motion to approve the minute. Hey, hold on a minute. How did the kids do? Yeah.
Oh, we did well.
Yeah, how'd Brady do?
Good. Well, we won 10-5, beat the County Kills.
That's the most important thing.
Anytime we beat the County Kills.
That's my alma mater.
You're on tape. Need a motion to approve minutes April 23rd, special tax warrant. In a second.
Second.
All in favor? I need a motion to approve the budget actuals for April 2026. Motion? Motion. Second.
Second.
All in favor? All right, new business, resolution 63 to approve the water system improvement design phase proposal dated April 28th, submitted by Labella. The amount of $833,275 for professional engineering design services on the project. Water supply treatment transmission improvements. Can I get a motion? Motion. In a second?
Second.
Ted, you want to explain that real quick?
Yeah, I'll give a quick summary. It's kind of a long, a couple years in the making now, and we sat down and we brought this project to light, and we're the village has put in a lot of work as well as us to get to this point, but fortunately you guys received a $5 million grant through EFC, and the remainder of that grant will be your match, which is 30%, which is great breakdown, is from a low interest loan, also through New York State. So that money's coming through, and this is the first phase, the engineering, design, and permitting, and the well development phase of the project. So we went through a procurement process where multiple engineers, as I understand, were interviewed, and we're thankful for your guys' confidence in us to continue our work. And we're really excited to see this start to move forward. So this, as I said, this is the design phase proposal from us, which includes some of the well development itself. So we'll be able to give you news as that proceeds in the coming months. You guys, one thing to note is that we work with many other communities to get grants, and the opportunity that you guys have, and I'll give Phil a pat on the back, with Phil and his team, is they're gonna allow you guys to take advantage of some reimbursable items that some communities don't have access to. In other words, the village staff is gonna be helping with some of the work, and that's gonna offset the amount of cost that you guys actually end up having to put in your match, which is awesome. A lot of communities just say, we don't have the people, we don't have the know-how, we don't have the interest. So that's just an awesome benefit that you guys are gonna get, and that does require additional paperwork, but we're willing and excited to work with you guys to kind of stay on top of that throughout this process. So I'll answer, I'm happy to answer any questions.
Just one point
Yeah.
to make on this fee is, doesn't include the construction documents and the construction inspection, so that'll be later on when we start construction, so there'll be more fee on this.
Correct. The second proposal will be the construction phase services, which is once you have a contractor awarded for these different contracts, the inspection time and the time, field engineer time doing, RFIs and answering questions and working directly with the contractor. That's always a sticky item to try to figure out what it actually costs initially, so it's better to wait on that second proposal until we have an actual schedule and we know kind of how these projects are going to be phased. We'll have a better understanding of that in the middle of the summer here, and that's when we'll come back and start to say that this will be phase 1, this will be phase 2, phase 3. So.
Yeah, Ken had some questions, and you were on the same line, and you were able to answer those questions.
Yeah, I was just one simple question.
So, anything else on this resolution?
You just did mention it was a low interest New York State loan.
Correct.
Do you have any idea like what that percentage is when you say low interest?
It's, all I know is there's different tiers. So theirs is either market rate or subsidized, or there's 3 different tiers: market rate, subsidized, or 0 interest. So you guys did not qualify for the 0 interest because that's like a hardship. It's considered a hardship loan based on income levels. But because of the nature or the importance of this project, it got you from the market rate financing group to the subsidized financing level, which is good. That's a lower rate than you guys would be able to have access to normally on your own. And then one more thing I'll mention, if I could, is that we're bringing Municipal Solutions on board, and they're a very sophisticated kind of grant administration group. And so they work with many communities around here, you might have heard of them. And so what they're gonna help develop is a short-term bond associated with this. And the purpose of that, we found, is sometimes it takes several months for EFC, New York State, to start to actually pay you. But they will help set up that cash flow and stuff over the future months, because you're talking about the budget. We don't want this to become a limiting factor on your budget. So the goal will be to have this separate bonding vehicle in place and immediately, so that you don't have to, short of, I think, just of one expense we talked about, the initial drilling. But other than that, the rest should be covered kind of seamlessly on this grant reimbursement process.
Yeah, we have some drilling that will be taking place first week in June or whatever, some initial drilling, and and don't quote me on these numbers, it's like $70,000 or $80,000. We have money in reserve currently now for water main replacement, that we've got enough in there to cover that short term, and then as we move forward with the solutions, municipal solutions, to look at some other funding and or our bond council, Chris share.
And that item will also be reimbursable as well. So you'd be essentially having to pay for that small item up front and then reimburse reimburse that as well through this process.
And if we do a good job of record keeping, Phil already started, and they're gonna be meeting with Phil and Ted and the group. We've already done some work, brush clearance, we've rented some equipment, and much of that is reimbursable. You know, so as he just alluded to, some municipalities just won't do that. Where we rented the equipment and say it costs us $2,000, we can submit that, get reimbursed for the employee's time, plus the machinery, there's a schedule. As we get deeper into this resolution later, there's a UTV, a side-by-side unit that we're renting right now in order to get transport through the woods and stuff, because it's a long ways. We may be able to just purchase one. It's like $27,000. It'll be a multi-use vehicle for the police, for the DPW, and it'll be covered under CHIPS money, potentially, so it wouldn't affect our budget per se. Plus, all the time we use that for the next 2 years, we'll be submitting for reimbursement on that, and it could cover a lot of the costs of that versus leasing one on a monthly basis. So that's a work in progress. So we got a motion and a second. Anything else on this resolution? Hearing none, all in favor? 64, approve and authorize the mayor to sign a professional services agreement dated May 12th between LaBelle and the village for service on various projects as set forth and described in proposals, and which shall be submitted by LaBelle in response to the village's request related to water, sewer, treatment, transmission improvements, or water supply treatment, transmission improvements. Motion? And a second.
Second.
Just an overview, Ted. On that, it's just just business as usual. It's just all part of this project.
Yep.
All in favor?
Aye.
You're off the hook if you want to vote out of here.
I might just second. Thank you guys.
Thanks, Ted, I appreciate it.
Ted.
Have a good day.
Yep.
See you again.
You've got two candidates, you want to wait a little bit, we'll get through, so we give Tom, I think we're going to.
Yeah, you get down to this.
Yeah.
Yep.
Resolution 65, to accept the approval of the county waste collection bid in an amount of $142,800, authorized by the mayor to sign the agreement between the village from July 1st to June 30th. Can I get a motion?
Motion.
A second?
Second.
We went to bid on that, received the bids today. We bid a one-year contract where we've been doing 3 years. We met with Relation, came to work, and tried to figure out a way to save some money here or there. We talked to the manager from County Waste a number of times to get a feel, and he said, well, 5%, you're looking at an increase over what we paid this year. And then he came back and says, oh, you better figure 7%. So when we did the budget, this next year's budget, we figured a 7% increase over what we're paying now. Relation came up opened their bids a week or two ago. Theirs went up 17%.
Wow.
I figured 7, so we sat here today when they came in, and Desiree opened it up, and he actually came in at 4.5%. I don't know how they did it. I don't know. It's not 5%, it's not 7, and it's not 17. And I'll be talking to Kendall Glacier tomorrow, and they probably won't talk back. But so it's still something we have to look at, because it's costing us a lot of money. We have some ideas. Desiree, Sam, and myself and Trish are going to put some things together. We're talking to this individual. We may amend this going forward. We may have some other ideas, but I only wanted a one-year contract because the costs are going up and up. And quite frankly, I think at some point we're going to get out of the garbage business, but that's yet to be discussed. So we got a motion and a second. Anything else? All in favor?
Aye.
Resolution 66 to approve Robert Patterson's accounting services from April, dated April 30th, the amount of $19,800 to be invoiced in increments of $1,650 for 12 months. From June 1st to May 31st, 2027, a motion?
Motion.
And a second.
Second.
There's been no increase in that. He's kept his bottom line the same. All in favor?
Aye.
Resolution 67, American Legion posts the whole annual Memorial Day Parade on Monday the 25th at 11 a.m. So we'll switch up this year. It's going the same route, however, it's not going to the cemetery. It's going to stop at the gazebo for services. Can I get a motion?
Motion.
And a second.
Second.
All in favor?
How come it's not gonna go?
That's
Just
an
curious.
American Legion thing, and I'm not going down that
Okay,
road.
okay.
Because there's people out there.
Walking up that hill.
Oh, yeah. I'm okay with it.
I think we did great, didn't we?
Resolution Resolution 68 to approve CPD new hire Mason Heslin at a contract rate of $26.01 per hour contingent upon background check, medical exam, psychological evaluation effective immediately. Can I get a motion?
Motion.
And a second. Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Mason's here. We had an opportunity with the administrators of the police department to interview. Mason's a full-time officer in Skodak Police, she's full-time. Just started in Skodak. Should be a great addition to the police department. Big on community policing, big on the kids in the school.
Awesome.
So we're happy to have you. You want to do any other introductions, or?
You covered a lot of it, you know, her background, she just recently graduated from the police academy and is full-time at Skodak. Prior to that, she had experience with Hudson Valley. RPI, that was close. As security, so she's had a lot of training and talking to people, which is always good on this job, and I think will be a great asset to the department.
Well, welcome.
Welcome, yes.
Thank you. And again, you're off the hook too, if you know.
She's gonna get sworn in when we're done
Okay,
here.
so you're gonna have to suffer through this.
Desiree said that she'd hang out.
I did, I actually completed the book.
All right, resolution 69 to approve the below roster for planning and zoning board seats and terms. Can I get a motion?
Motion.
In a second. We've been neglect on this. I've been neglect on this for a number of years. We don't have it in proper order. So we're starting fresh, and as you can see the order, it's just a normal business. We just haven't been following that. So we got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Resolution 70 to approve the DPW purchase of a 2026 Kubota skid steer with attachments from Salem Farm Supply. Cost is $65,830.67. It's a Sourcewell purchase. It's the same as New York State contract. It will be coming out of the CHIPS funds for 2026-2027. Can I get a motion?
Motion.
And a second. Second. As Phil does a good job with his equipment, the current skid steer, while it's getting up there in years and hours, is still a decent saleable piece of equipment. Looking online when we put it on auction international, I would not be surprised if we get between $25,000 to $30,000 sale for that. All in favor?
Aye.
Resolution 71 to approve a request made by Queer and Trans Connection Network for the use of the village gazebo on June 22nd from 5 to 10 p.m. for a Pride Awareness Celebration event. Can I get a motion?
Motion.
And a second.
Second.
We're still waiting for documentation, right? Desiree, for that?
No, we haven't.
We're all set? All in favor?
Aye.
Resolution to approve a request made by Chatham Brewing Company to use Main Street Municipal Lot to hold October feast on Saturday, October 10th, from 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. and to suspend that which will contain along the Main Street Municipal Lot from 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. and to authorize the mayor to sign the submitted insurance and identification agreement. Can I get a motion?
Motion.
A second.
Second.
Tom, you have anything you want to add to that?
No, just thank you. I think these festivals do well for the village, this and Summerfest, and appreciate your support. Joe's team always does a great job making sure things run safely.
Cabot decided not to do it this year for a number of reasons, but Tom's group has picked it up and
I'm glad to circle back. We started originally 11 years ago, and then Cabo picked it up, and we're happy to keep it going.
good.
Thank you all.
Okay, thanks. All in favor?
Aye.
Resolution 73, grant one-time sewer relief, the amount of $54.56 to Mariette Millet due to a leaking outdoor hose at 7 Line Street. Motion?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Resolution 74 to approve and authorize the mayor to sign a proposed terms and condition agreement dated May 7th between the village and BBG Real Estate for professional preparation of appraisal report of the Chatham Firehouse. It costs us $2,600. Can I get a motion? Motion and a second.
Second.
As we continue this process, we're still having a little bit of negotiations with another business owner. I think it's important to have an appraisal of what our property's worth before we sign
I think
anything.
so too, definitely.
All in favor?
Aye.
75, to authorize the mayor to renew and sign an agreement between the village of Chatham and the town of Chatham and the Chatham Police Department to provide town with police services. And you can see the agreement. Can I get a motion? Motion. And a second.
Second.
The only thing that's changed in this agreement from the previous one is the cost to the town because of the increase in contractual obligations we have for our police, correct?
Yeah, we actually have language in here that allows us to change it each year.
Yeah.
So we adjust mileage reimbursement as well as we adjust salaries based on that each year.
So do they additionally pay, like, they pay the salary and then they pay mileage, do they pay us to use that service? Or just the salary?
They reimburse us for salary, and then they pay mileage for basically wear and tear on the car. So there's no fee for us doing that, no. We don't collect a fee, they just reimburse the village, so that it's no cost to the village.
Does that answer your question? I don't think legally we can make money on,
Well, I don't think it's really making money, but we pay for like I don't know what all we pay for, but like bulletproof vests and like things that I see coming through. And that you guys have a space here. I mean, I'm not trying to make money, it's just that we're paying more to have them than just a salary.
So what we charge back includes, what do you want to call it, retirement and stuff like that. We do not charge for equipment that the officers wear, because that equipment is required whether they're in the town or the village anyway. So the vest that they wear, they're gonna wear that vest regardless of where they're working. And same with the ammo that they're carrying in their their firearm. They're carrying that ammo regardless of where they're working. So
Hopefully they don't need to use the ammo.
correct, and nor the best. But yeah, so there is baked into that fee that they pay, which is the same fee we charge. In that calculation accounts for their salary plus those other things that are charged on top of that salary.
So they are reimbursing more than their salary. I misunderstood what you said.
Correct, yeah.
I thought we were
So they
supposed to
don't,
be
yeah, so they don't
reimbursing
pay, an officer's salary, Mason, for instance, starts at
salary. They're not
2601.
paying 26.
No, there's a dollar amount
That
that's
was my
calculated on
question.
it. Yes.
Okay. And then I just wonder if you did say it could be adjusted. I mean, I'm looking at the gas prices right now, and this is below like what New York State reimburses currently, and I'm sure they're way behind. So I just wondered like if that is.
Yep, so we adjust the mileage as the state adjusts the acceptable reimbursement.
Because I know the state's higher than that right now.
Oh, did it go up?
Yeah, it did
It's
go up.
24.
We have an understanding with the town.
0.75 actually, something like that.
Trish gets periodic.
Yeah,
updates on what
yes,
But
we do.
You did say that you can reimburse it as you move
Yes, we
forward.
adjust that accordingly,
I
yes.
just know I stopped at a gas station.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, it's whatever the federal, I think we go off of what the federal mileage rate is what we charge back, yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Thanks, Joe.
Good. All in favor?
Aye.
Resolution 76 to approve January 1st request by Chattanooga Cemetery for $3,000 financial support. Again, utilizing budget line 88104, coming out of the 27 and 28 budget. Can I get a motion? Motion second. That's an annual. All in favor?
I just want to say, to me, it's interesting. Maybe there is a signed copy. This isn't signed. It doesn't have any. It just says president and there's no name on it. Just mentioning that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Resolution 27, authorizing the mayor to sign a letter of support from the village of Chatham for the Columbia County Agricultural Society for the fair starting at 12 p.m. noon on Wednesday, September 2nd through Labor Day, September 27th, in support of their application to the Department of Health for a public mass gathering operating permit. Can I get a motion?
Motion.
A second. Any questions? That's an annual. All in favor?
Aye.
Again, resolution 78, grant permission to agriculture to conduct annual firefighters parade on Saturday, September 5th. Can I get a motion?
Motion.
And a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Resolution 79, this is where we talked about the schedule of transfers and use of reserve funds. Can I get a motion?
Motion.
And a second.
Gotcha.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Resolution 80 to approve the scheduled budget amendments for use on appropriate assigned general water sewer funds for review during the board meeting. It's the same thing for the water and sewer. Motion?
Motion.
And a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Resolution 81 to authorize Cabot to hold Summerfest on Saturday, July 18th from 10 to 4. Can I get a motion?
Motion.
And a second. Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Resolution 82 to suspend the open container law, restrictions for Summerfest between the hours of 10 a.m. and 5 p.m. You can see the streets that designated. Can I get a motion? Motion. And a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
The next two have been dropped. Resolution 85. Does this screw up your numbers?
No, it'll go, I'll just say that resolution was
Okay.
withdrawn.
Resolution 85, we authorize the Chatham School District to hold the 2026 graduation parade in the village at approximately 8 p.m. Immediately following graduation on June 26th. Motion?
Motion.
And a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Resolution 86, to authorize the mayor to sign a payment processing agreement between the Village of Chatham and CSG Forte Payments for processing the village property tax payments made using the online iTax payment portal or by credit card reader while in the clerk's office. Can I get a motion?
Motion.
And a second. Desiree, do you want to explain that? Or Sam?
So we are in the process of setting up an online payment portal for tax billing, water billing, and miscellaneous. We currently have MCSJ water billing, and there's going to be a payment portal that MCSJ works through, and that is a separate card processor. We are transitioning from iTax software to MCSJ tax software. That's going to take like 12 to 18 months to happen. But in the meantime, we are able to set up a payment portal for iTax, and that is this Forte company. Forte sent us the agreement documents, and Ken reviewed them, made notes on that, and I sent it back over to Forte. It's with their attorneys right now, reviewing whatever Ken wrote.
I have to add, at the end of that resolution, it says pending receipt of the attorney-approved version. So until we receive that, it won't be put into effect.
Basically, like, when Ken is happy with it.
Right, Ken sent over some suggested changes, and we haven't received anything back from Forte. When we do, Ken will review it again.
The only reason I guess I put it on right now on the agenda is because tax bills come out June 1st, so we're trying to get it all, everything up and running, kind of under a time crunch.
One of the things was very minor, it's just in the language, it says it can only be used for bona fide sales of goods, and it's just an amendment or an appendix that says it can be used for the collection of tax payments, because they seem, their template seems to be set up for commercial businesses. So that shouldn't be a problem. There was one other thing that was a little more technical, but we'll see. But they shouldn't be impediments to getting this thing done, but I just wanted to clarify the language on a couple of things.
Is there a service fee to use it?
Do you know the rates off the
So
top?
off the top of my head, I don't remember the rates, but right now we use one card processing company for everything. And they have different rates based on if it's tax payment or if it's a water payment or miscellaneous payment. But the major drawback is that, especially with water bills and tax bills to a lesser degree, that service fee escalates to a point, once you get to $150, that's, say, the first $50, it's $1.50, then it's $2.50, and then once you get up to $150, they tack on $2 every $50 after that. So if somebody's paying a $600 bill, they've got a service fee of about $40 at this point. These new companies, it's a flat rate, so it'll be 2-point-something% for all card. Des has the numbers right here.
That's 2.95.
Don't they also have like the e-check?
So they also
like
give us,
$2.
they give us an option now where we can accept e-checks, which we were never able to take, and pay by phone services, that sort of thing. And another benefit of this payment processing, not Forte in particular, but MCSJ who will be transferring everything into in a year and a half. People can create an account, they can set up auto pay, they can go and view historic bills, and the same goes for this tax system. The main impetus for this tax system was that we get many requests by phone from escrow lenders, from real estate companies. They want copies of tax bills. We have to go find that tax bill, make a PDF of it, pop it into an email and send it to them. This will allow them to go on there and pull any bills they want. And also residents will be able to go in and see the tax bills, just like everywhere else.
Right.
Yeah.
You're coming into the century, you're telling me.
Kicking and screaming.
Okay.
Anything else? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Resolution 87, approve the DPW purchase of the 2026 Bobcat utility vehicle in the amount of $29,707. It's a Sourcewell contract dated 4/2/26, contingent upon New York State approval of using chips. In other words, they have to review it if it's an acceptable expense. Can I get a motion? And a second.
Second.
Early call was it may or may not be, so if it's not covered under chips, we're not going to purchase it, obviously, because we're not taking budget money to do it.
Okay.
All in favor? We're going to make a resolution for Joe regarding the patrol finder, because it wasn't put on here. So we'll make a resolution 88 of 2026. And we might have to finesse this to approve the contract for patrol finder proposal.
Were there different lengths, terms? Is it a 1 year?
It's a 2-year agreement in there.
And again, the money will be coming, it's budgeted, there's money budgeted for it, correct?
Yes. Can you use the grant money for that?
I need to call DCJS and find out. There's some excluding language in that grant. I just need to see if we can get past it. If we can reimburse ourselves, obviously. Yes.
I don't think the state has checked on any of that spending, by the way.
I would agree with that statement. I just don't want to be the first one to find out.
All right.
I don't want to be their guinea pig.
I got a motion and a second. Did I get a motion?
Motion.
And a second.
A second.
All in favor? We've got a couple things here. Sidewalk committee, there's been no action. Desiree's going to continue to put these on here till we make them go away and do something with them. I know what she's doing. And parking and V&T committee, code committee, we do have to get back into the groove on that.
Where's the V&T?
Vehicle traffic.
Oh.
You call what you want.
Okay.
Because we had some discussion that you folks weren't part of with the town court regarding parking tickets, and it's very convoluted because we don't have a village court. Some of the tickets are written in the town of Chatham, some are written in the town of Gant, the town judges are having a fit, and that. So we're working on that, more to follow.
So what's the deal with the sidewalk committee? It's not the snow or anything?
Well, it was, I think it was all encompassing at that particular time, and that was, it had to be fall. Where we wanted to have some discussion about how we wanted to handle the sidewalks in the wintertime. But just nothing ever really came out of it. I'd be willing to just, have Desiree shoot an email out to everybody, and we can have a working hour somewhere to try to do something.
Does anybody remember who's on the committee?
I think I was.
I think you would too.
Give it up, Mel.
Chair.
And Jody, right? Oh, Jamie, okay.
Oh, so you're the chairman. We'll get back on that, because we really do need to. And actually, some of the equipment we've purchased for snow removal puts us in a better spot to consider doing more, possibly more snow removal.
Good.
And I know that's a topic that comes up every year. A couple things, e-bike safety. I've had calls, Joe had calls. He's done a little bit of a campaign, put some stuff out on social media regarding laws, and quite frankly, it's very difficult to enforce. The e-bikes are a thing, and they're not going to go away. They're going to become more prevalent.
Especially with the bike path.
You know, so, it's something I'm not quite sure where we can go. It's just an education type thing, or more along those lines. I don't know if you got anything you want to add to that, Joe?
No, it's not just our community, it is happening across the realm. Chiefs Association has had multiple threads about this exact issue. I believe there is a meeting in Kinderhook or Valatia on Sunday about bicycles on the path. I think Sheriff's Office is going to be there. I was going to attempt to be there, but you know, we've got the bike thing here in the village at the same time, so. But it's a constant issue. I did write a ticket last Friday when I had an intern with me because the guy cut me off. So in a marked police car, so it's a matter of enforcing it, and people need to learn that e-bikes are not exempt. It's a vehicle, whether it's powered by battery or whether it's powered by gas. It operates under the same rules. So, and then the children piece of it is a little more challenging because depending on the age of the child is where we write the ticket, and there's case law about you can't write a parent a ticket for a child that is not in their presence. So the kid leaves the house with a helmet on, goes down the road and removes the helmet. You're in a catch-22, and depending on the age of the child, there's some issues there. So, but again, we did a campaign. I gave it to the middle school. They're supposed to be pushing it out in their next parent newsletter to make sure that because that's where our basis for this challenge is middle schoolers. We'll continue to, push it. And yes, once that path is connected to Copac, I think it's going to be even a bigger issue, but we've got a couple years before we get that far down the road.
We only go to the village line.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say that it's been a while since I jumped into the VAT, but, so they're not supposed to be on sidewalks anywhere, right?
Correct.
Okay.
And then-
If we don't have an ordinance, it defaults back to the state.
Correct. The village does not have an ordinance that allows bicycles on the sidewalk, which means whether it's an e-bike or bicycle, they're not supposed to be on the sidewalk. Now, officer use their discretion when we're talking about an 8-year-old or 9-year-old, because
Right.
I would prefer them riding their bicycle on the sidewalk. I'd rather take the heat for that than them being in traffic or, stuff like that. But, yes, where the V&T really works for e-bikes is they're required to have lights and stuff like a motor vehicle, and they're required to be registered, but you can't register them. So it's an unregistered motor vehicle, uninspected motor vehicle, and that type of thing.
So I had a question for you, maybe to the board too. We talk about neighborhood policing. Do you have any officers on bikes yet?
We do. We haven't been out yet. We haven't hit that temperature, but we do go out, yes.
Okay.
Yep, I've got 3 certified right now, and we looking to run another class, once the weather gets warm. As an accredited agency, they have to take it's basically a 32-hour course that each bike officer needs to go through.
Are they going to be e-bikes or regular bikes?
We only have regular bikes right now. The PD does own regular bikes. I'd love to get an e-bike, but the cost is a little higher than what I've found. Obviously, if I find a grant for it, then I'll probably get one, but
okay.
Yes. E-bike would be definitely helpful because you try to ride your bike up Murray Line to High Street. By the time you get to High Street, you're huffing and puffing.
Well, we do keep the officers in shape then.
Yes.
I do think that the education is key, and I know it's a lot to get out there, but I think to even start at the elementary, because they will be middle school and also high schools, remind them, because a lot of them can't drive till they're juniors and seniors. I think the Morris Memorial would be a great opportunity. I think all the summer camps, even the Ghent one and one here, I just think there's a great opportunity to educate. I know you're doing that.
Yep.
Because even some of the things you said, I'm not familiar with. I just didn't know.
Yeah. Yep. Nope. Emergency management picked up my Facebook post and they're bringing it to the meeting as well.
That's great.
So they recognized it, and so did Questar. They picked it up and put out a rebranded version of what I had as well to the school resource officers.
That's great,
So,
thank you.
yeah.
Okay. Use of the gazebo, village-owned property, we've been toiling with that, this all comes back to people just are using it for their own benefit for 24 hours a day, nobody else tends to go there or use it. We do charge to use it for groups, it's a nominal fee of $25, and somebody, but they have to give a certificate of insurance. We did put a couple of signs up in 2010, when that was donated to the village by the Lions Club, there were stipulations as part of the resolution. There were signs there over the years, they just weren't maintained and they fell apart. I did have 2 signs made up and put back there that basically says, Village of Chatham gazebo, no smoking, open from 8 AM to dusk. And as Joe said, we had no laws that say you can or you can't. It was just back in 2010 when it was given to the village board that they agreed to take it on, and the Lions Club wanted these stipulations put. So it is what it is, but it's, you know, it's kind of sad that I've watched since some of our 2 people moved out for a couple of days, how the young people who are sitting in there Saturday, where people were in there having lunch, and now they'll be back there and people won't go there. It's kind of disheartening.
Yeah, it
And
is.
I don't want to be heartless, but I'll get on my soapbox, but I've spent 17 years volunteering for the Ghent Food Pantry. And I've held more hands and more people, and to be called a heartless and a harasser and stuff, they don't know where I'm coming from. These people have been through the system. They're playing everybody. And that's, you know, it's too bad, but we'll leave it at that. Heavy trash pickup, we know that's going on. Here's your KISS dates for the shredding program. We talked about the appraisal. We met with the new board of directors at CABA. Great bunch of people. They really dialed in. They're really looking to amp up Summerfest. They were looking for some help with the event ahead signs, some safety for the wagon rides. I've talked to Joe. There'll be more follow-up with that group with the police department in the village. Are there any other questions, anything to be brought up that we haven't discussed or haven't written down?
Can we just revisit the heavy trash drop-off
Sure.
dates? I think maybe next year, at some point, we could talk about possibly, if not as many people are going, does it need to be 4 days? And also the possibility of it maybe being a Friday, Saturday. Because I know last year, the town of Chatham, Donnell was in here, theirs was a Saturday. I've seen signs for Stuyvesant, it's a Saturday. I mean, I know even, I love that, I can't get there. It's, the hours are limited and it's during the week.
We'll think about
So
it.
just think it's something to think about if it's sort of a village people, maybe more people would solicit it.
All right, good point. Good point. Anything else? Hearing none, can I get a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
A second. All in favor, thank you.